Paula B. We are so pleased that you will join us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to meet the two of you too.
Exactly. We have this just idea that there's so many wonderful women out there with so much to share, kind of that abundance mentality. We can't meet everybody's needs. And so when we find out about someone who's really serving the community, the same community, we're like excited. So because we all are really engaged with the word mature women, over 50, 45, 50,
plus.
60. We call them ageless, by the way. We don't like
love that.
We like ageless. I'm 67. Robin is 53. I know you're in your 50s.
I'm turning 50 in 2 days.
Oh, really? There you go. Well, anyway, we have a heart for that. So we will tell you, we found out about you, Paula, because some of our clients, we are always encouraging them to make exercise and activity super consistent in their lives, find what works for them, do what you love, what you like. So they started to talk about you. Has anybody seen Paula B's videos? And they said, can we post them on our private Facebook pages? Absolutely. Share your resources that are working for you. And so we kept hearing it. Then the girls were talking to each other, on the Facebook conversations of, I like this video best. And I thought, we got to meet this Paula B and introduce her more formally to our community.
I love it. That's so exciting. I love to hear that people are like so enthusiastic about exercise. I mean, obviously out in the world, the joke is that like, oh, I only run if somebody's chasing me or something like that. Like when somebody actually enjoys working out, that just makes me feel so amazing that they would, enjoy it so much that they would talk about it and, make friends and bond over it. I just think that's so wonderful.
Totally agree.
Well, if it's not fun, you don't want to do it, right? We always say you do something that you will enjoy and that you will be consistent at, because if you hate it, you've got to find something else.
Well, and the thing too, Robin and I both work out at home. I was a fitness professional that taught high impact and step aerobics and things and owned a gym and all sorts of things for 20 years. Wow. And then it was like burnout sets in and I'm like, this isn't time efficient. I'm tired of, always just getting up and leaving the house and all that stuff. And so we are super into home workouts because when you eliminate all the other obstacles, people are consistent. I was interested reading your story. If you would share a little bit of your journey, because you were not always fit. You didn't love exercise. So here you are some 10 years plus later, and you have hundreds of exercise videos so tell your story a little bit.
Well, so I grew up active, the way we did at the time. I mean, when there wasn't much to do back in the 60s and 70s, we went outside and played, all crazy. So I grew up like semi-active, but then turned into like kind of a sedentary teenager, and then just really struggled with trying to find that balance of being active and eating. And I really struggled for a while with like some depression and anxiety as a young adult. I think so many of us can relate to that. And then, I would get thin and I would exercise for a while, but then I would kind of fall out of it because it wasn't something that I necessarily loved doing. And so I struggled with my weight, I would say probably most of my life, like probably from my teenage years until my late 30s. I gained and lost and gained and lost. And then I found something that I loved and was able to stick with it. I mean, that really, when I found running, which was for me the first exercise that I truly loved and realized how much it changed my life, that it became enthusiastic about it. I wanted to run every day, or, not every day, but most of the time. I wanted to exercise regularly for truly the first time in my life. And I realized how transformative that was to find something enjoyable that I actually felt skilled at. I mean, I am not coordinated. I've never played sports. I really, truly had to find something that I could do very simply. And it's probably the cornerstone of what I do with my workouts on YouTube. I mean, we on, online, we joke a lot about not having great balance or not being super coordinated. My workouts are so simple because I can do them. And I love being able to share things that I can do with other women. And it's funny how I came to YouTube. I was a personal trainer. I did in-home personal training for a couple of years. And I found that when people weren't like with me physically, that they weren't necessarily following through on their own workouts. And I'm like, let me just film one for you. And then, it's just like I'm here. And
Yep.
I put it on YouTube, and it was like, okay, I could do this for more people, like more people could actually see these workouts. And then I realized that other people on YouTube were doing that. And it kind of, I really truly fell into it by accident. It's really funny how something that I have now made my career was something that was a total side thought when I very first started with it.
Well, we felt the same. We started a YouTube channel some years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, just threw videos up, wasn't using it as a platform, and it started growing, and we're like, oh, they're watching. Oh,
Yeah.
and so you never know. But what's interesting, Paula, I want to share with our followers is you do all these wonderful, very functional exercises and really meet women where they're at. But I was super impressed to find out you qualified for the Boston Marathon, girl.
I said that was impressive.
We know enough. That's not the easiest thing. You went from not, doing much to qualifying. And but what I love too is a lot of people don't like running. They actually, that's part of the challenge. And one of my questions for you as a person now that has been virtually coaching, thousands and thousands of women, what have you found so special about you post a different video every week, which is variety. So how important is variety and level and all that to get people to fall in love with exercise?
I think that there's this thought in the world that there's some perfect routine, like some perfect weekly routine that we should follow, that is the way to be fit and healthy. And that if you just, if it's 3 days a week of weights and 2 days a week of cardio and 1 day of yoga, and then everything else is going to fall into place. And what I often tell women is that if it doesn't work for you, it's not working. And it doesn't matter if it's, perfect, that if it's not perfect for you, it's not. And I think that that's probably like the hardest part for a lot of people is maybe even just trusting your own self. Like, if I love this, is that okay? Is that good enough? And so as far as like being concerned about levels or being concerned about, oh, I have to have, this right mix of cardio and strength and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's a good idea to have variety. Variety is the spice of life. But if you don't love something and you're not going to do it long term and you're really only doing it to check the box, I truly believe that your body hears what your mind is saying. I truly, truly believe that if you are only doing something out of obligation, that you don't actually get the benefit of it. I don't know how your body blocks that, but I swear it knows when you're only doing cardio because somebody told you to do cardio, you're not going to get as much benefit out of it as if you really enjoyed it. So as far as variety, yeah, sure, try new things. Branch out, have some fun with it. But if you find something you don't love, don't do it. That's totally okay. And though, having said that, okay, I have convinced people to learn how to love running by not trying to start at level 10. That when you start running for 10 seconds. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, well, that's not running. Sure it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're moving your arms and swinging your legs, that's running. Give it 10 seconds. Learn how to breathe through it. Learn how to do something. And you could get better at it. If you decide you don't love it later, that's totally fine. But like the first time, give it a try.
I want to ask you about running because I used to run, but my knees didn't do well with it. And I had actually gone to a sports medicine chiropractor, and he said, your body is actually not built for running because your joints are so flexible. They're not stiff enough. And so I was having issues. And so I stopped. He said, you're built for swimming because of the flexibility in my joints. It's like a flip.
Yeah.
But I just was curious because I do hear, especially women that are in our season of life, that they feel like it's hard on their joints. Is that something, is that a truth, or is that just a mindset?
Both. As your doctor pointed out to you, if you are built for swimming and if you have like an actual joint issues, like a hypermobility or something like that, there are some people who are, medically less able to run. For lots of us, I mean, we evolved as a species because we were able to run. I mean, so it is something that we are technically speaking capable of doing. Lots of us though don't do a lot of the other activities that would help us run better. I mean, specifically strength training or even core strengthening, to some extent some flexibility work. There are other things that we can do for our body to help us run better or run longer. But again, every body is built differently, and so some people are more prone to having knee issues or hip issues or ankle issues or just joint issues in general. That makes it a lot more difficult for sure. And truly the same is true for honestly any kind of exercise. There are medical reasons why some exercises aren't great for certain people, but generally speaking, most people are capable of doing most things.
Right. And as we age, we have to listen to our body. And I did many, many years of high impact aerobics. I ran some, but what I didn't love running. I loved the intensity, but I liked working out to music. So I became an exercise instructor that did everything to music, and it was very high energy and high impact. But at 50, not until 51, I started to feel some lower back issues, and ended up now at 67. I've never had surgery, but I have severe degenerative spine, and some of it is from the impact. So I have had to listen to my body. I'm still quite fit. I don't do near the intensity I used to, but I've had to do the lower impact. I'll do treadmill at 12, 15%. And again, I think it's a matter of finding that comfort zone where you're not exacerbating a problem you might have, but you're also enjoying it. And to me, women need to figure out how to be consistent and without injury. And so what I love is your videos offer levels, offer suggestions. Let's talk about your style, Paula. You talk through. I mean, it's like working out with a girlfriend, and you go for a walk with a girlfriend. You just don't silent. You just talk away and encourage. What got you, and what did you decide when you started this process? I'm just going to have a daily conversation with my girls.
So that was not on purpose. I will tell you, I have never in my entire life had a single report card that did not, in some manner, comment on how much I talk. I have been a talker since the day I was born. Probably not the very first day, but I truly, as soon as I learned how to talk, I don't think I've stopped. I talk a lot. And so it's actually really funny when you watch some of my super old videos before I was comfortable on camera, I was silent. I truly was. I was just, doing the work, and people will comment on that one now because they're so used to me. I have learned that the camera is my friend. Like, I picture the women that I have gotten to know through YouTube, through comments, or through my Facebook group. I picture them working out with me. I'm just talking to them. And I have always been capable of talking. I have actually tried somewhat recently, well, maybe not super recently, like maybe a year or two ago. You get comments on YouTube. I mean, I'm sure you do too. Somebody being critical of something, and you're just like, okay, do I take this to heart? Do I not? But I do get a lot of comments about, hey, you talk a lot. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I literally tried to be quieter for one video, and you can't tell the difference. I couldn't stop myself. I had things to say.
What I love, we can't be all things to all people.
No.
We have our talents and our personalities and all that. And that's what I loved about you. Is like, and people said, she talks a lot, but I love the encouragement. So you draw the people that really feeds them. They want to have a conversation. They want to be encouraged. And I think that's what's great about you is you exude your personality, your style, and it's the Pahla B style. And so, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges women over 50 face, deconditioned women who really have never made exercise a priority, a lifestyle, and so they're just starting. To me, 50 is young, but hit since my 20s. But what do you run into in the comments and the concerns that women are telling you what's hard for them?
I think truly the hardest thing is that if you do any kind of research for fitness, and what you see is a 25-year-old girl with that body. I mean, that is the fitness model. That is what you're going to find. I mean, it's my competition on YouTube. Like that's who is showing us how to be fit. I think as a woman of this age, being online at all. I mean, truly, when you contacted me, I was all over your website. I was just like, oh my gosh, they're my age. They're talking to my people. Like there's this, yeah, well, but there's this dividing line. There really is. That I felt it in my 40s. I definitely started feeling like, okay, y'all are pretty young over there with the fitness stuff. But now getting into my 50s, it's like people who do fitness are young. And they're talking to young people. They are moving in a young way. They are treating you like, oh, of course you have more. And I'm like, no, I really don't. This is it today.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I've realized in my own life. And I feel, I mean, at 67, I see myself in my 40s. That's just my mentality. Used to be 42. Now it's more like 48. But nevertheless, I feel things I didn't before. And I know that I need to listen to my body more than ever. I could push through when I was younger. I could go harder is better, burn it, burn all the calories, go as, all the high intensity type of training and stuff. And we have learned even in our research and talking to others that for women 50 plus, peri and postmenopause, sometimes too hard, even if they feel like they can endure it, is too much stress, which ups their cortisol, which increases their fat storing. So it's like kinder and gentler is actually okay, maybe even better. You're a seasoned runner that can run a marathon, but 90% of the women aren't, and they need permission. That's why when you go to exercise classes, everybody's competing. You don't have to compete. And that's what I love about your personality, your encouragement is what I didn't realize until just a couple days ago is that you're a marathoner because you're relatable and you're not pushing. You're just showing the simplicity of movement and the power it can have.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, even as a seasoned runner, as a seasoned ultra marathoner, I mean, I have run very long distances, and I have learned that I used to be able to kind of bounce back. I used to be able to, push on and do something else and get right back to it. And the older I get, the more I'm finding that my recovery time is just, it's doubling, if not tripling at this point. And I think, I mean, coming back actually to one of the barriers that I think a lot of women our age face is even that learning to hear your body, to know that it's telling you you should slow down. I mean, all the other voices are saying go harder when your body is saying don't go so hard. Why would we trust that right away? If we've been able to do more before, it took me a long time to even hear and trust my own body when it was telling me, you know what, you need more time off. You need to rest more. You need another day or two of recovery before you do anything else. You need more Epsom salt baths. You need more foam roller time. You need fewer miles. You need to be doing things differently. And I think that's super hard for lots of us.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. When you design your workout plans, do you have or when you're encouraging women to find that balance, are you saying, hey, ideally mix up the cardio or whatever? Or I know you post every week, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever run out of material?
No. Isn't that weird? It amazes me too. I have well over 700 videos at this point, and every time I sit down to make a new one, I'm like, well, this is it. This is the last one. That's good one I've got in me. And then I kind of just stew around like, what would be fun? What would I like to do? What would feel good today? And there's always something else. There's always a different way to put it together. There's always something else that I have to say.
Paula, what would you say are the biggest mistakes that women 45 plus, 50, 55, 67 make with their exercise program?
Doing too much. Honestly, I mean, and I know that sounds so funny because again, when we were younger, it was like, oh no, you have to do more. You have to do more. I hear on the daily women who even experienced exercisers, I mean, specifically newbies who were like, okay, I started off with this 45-minute workout and I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And I'm like, oh honey, no, it's okay. 10 minutes is plenty. But experienced exercisers, sometimes, I mean, we have a hard time too. Like, I've been exercising my whole life. I know I can do an hour and a half. Why are you telling me to do 30 minutes?
Mhm.
It's hard to start from something kind of small, or to cut back to something kind of small. I doing too much is, there are so many messages that tell us to do more. It's so hard to do the right amount. It really, really is. And it's one of the reasons why I do try so hard to encourage women to do less. I know that sounds so funny, but while we're working out, I'm like, hey, if this is too much for you, take it down, modify it, do what you got to do. If this is too long, do something shorter. I mean, do less. It's fine.
Well, and I think that's super important because, and it's not just about time and days, it could be about weight, how much, because, or just how many repetitions, because you could injure yourself, especially if you're not in shape. The
Yeah.
chance of injury is so much higher. So to start slow and test yourself really, to what you're doing, and then build up
Yeah.
instead of like gung ho, like give me those 50-pound weights. You can't walk for days.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't grab 50s.
I wouldn't either. I don't even own a.
I noticed that you work out barefoot a lot. I don't know if you
Oh,
exclusively.
yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that for the
So
average?
this is a question that I actually get a lot, and I have to tell you. Okay, so again, coming back to like the first time I worked out on camera, I didn't think about it. I don't wear shoes when I'm at home. I just don't. I haven't for a long time. I I exercise barefoot at home kind of naturally, and it didn't occur to me that it was going to be a thing that people would like ask me about, or a thing that would be odd. And I totally get that it is odd, but kind of coming back to the whole, I grew up at, sporty, not sporty, but I grew up active as a kid, but not athletic. I have some of the worst balance of anybody I've ever met, not super coordinated. And when I very first started running, I got injured a lot. I mean, it happened. I did too much too soon. What a surprise. And I wasn't doing anything else. So I wasn't doing any like core strengthening or strength training. And I got injured, and I went to my sports medicine doctor, and she said, okay, let's run some tests and kind of see where you're having troubles. So she had me stand on one foot, and standing on one foot, I fell over. I mean, that's how bad my balance was. And so she's like, I see what the problem is here. So she gave me these PT exercises and said, here's where you need to start. You need to work on your core. You need to work on your balance. And one of the things that she suggested was being barefoot. And I'm like, well, okay, I do that all the time anyways. And so I started working out by myself at home barefoot, and found so much benefit from it. I mean, I still do not have great balance, but where I am now versus where I was a couple of years ago, just head and shoulders above where I used to be. When we go barefoot, we're using the muscles in our feet. And I know that sounds super funny. Like, of course you have muscles in your feet, but we don't really think about them because we wear shoes all the time. We wear shoes to protect our feet. But when your feet actually have to work because the shoes aren't like stabilizing them at all, you're training muscles the same way that you train like your biceps when you're doing biceps curls, the same way that you're training your abs when you're doing ab exercises. You can actually train yourself to have better balance and better ankle mobility and better stability. And so it's something that I get questioned about a lot. And I understand that for some people, working out barefoot is not a great idea. If you have foot issues or some reason why it's not good for you, don't do it. Totally fine. But as we age and we are more concerned with balance and fall prevention and core strengthening and strengthening your whole body and functional fitness, the likelihood is if you're going to fall, you're going to be in the shower, which means you're not going to be wearing shoes.
Yeah.
You need to have your feet conditioned too. Honestly, it's for my own safety as well as for yours,
And so you're really not doing any high impact videos without shoes. They're
I used to, again, when I was a little bit younger, and I honestly don't do very many high impact videos at all anymore. I've really moved away from that. I mean, I've been on YouTube for 6 years. So when I first started, I was much younger. And so I did a lot more jumping, a lot more like high impact kind of stuff. And I do actually on camera run barefoot also, which is the question that I get most often. Like, isn't that really bad for you? Again, for me,
it's
it's
not.
not.
Aren't there those shoes that a lot, the little, they're like a sock, but it's like a wetsuit material or something.
Yeah, Vibrams. Yeah, I used to wear those actually when those first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when those first came out, I gave them a try. I mean, it's a lot for outdoors. Outdoors, I absolutely wear shoes. Absolutely. I mean, there's glass out there. I'm not trying to, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you look at, I mean, obviously there are people that are carrying a lot of weight and, maybe they need the arch support or whatever. But again, if you're doing low impact, I agree to engage those muscles and feel those feet. There can be some great benefit. I was just curious because you don't see it very often.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Now you say you're a functional fitness specialist. Describe, what does that mean?
Well, it was actually one of the certification things that I went through when I got my personal training certificate. I did an online course with functional fitness, and it was something that I was drawn to as a runner who was really interested in core strength. And so when I did the certification, I found it really fascinating, and it's something that I haven't gone back and like redone that certification, but it is something that I do pay attention to a lot when I'm designing my own exercises or my own workouts. And just in general, I notice that, we're so concerned with getting strong or getting thin or getting something kind of external that you can see, that a lot of us really do skip that core layer where we're working literally on our core. And so it's something that I'm passionate about because I've noticed the difference in my own fitness when I started working on my core. When I spent really dedicated time working on my core strength and working on my balance by being barefoot and doing core strengthening work, it made everything else better. I mean, I really truly feel like that was the core of my own fitness. And so it's something that I really pay attention to and really, really try to encourage my viewers to be thinking about their core strength, about their functional fitness. Because again, as we get older, it's going to be harder to get up off the ground. It's going to be harder to get out of a situation.
It can make the difference of grabbing a box that you want to move and pulling out your back versus your training, what you're doing in your fitness training is functional, so that means it transfers over to when you want to pick that box up, you're going to have that strength and not pull your back out.
Yes.
And I will say the thing that has saved me for 17 years from back surgery is core strength. My orthopedic doctor, who is thankfully not knife happy, has said, I'm his poster child. He said, I've done surgery on so many women whose backs aren't near as bad as yours, Dana, but you've got a muscle girdle. And you have, because I knew short of going in and somebody surgically fixing me and, putting a rod, doing, what's it called? Gosh, I'm an ex-nurse and I can't even remember.
I have no idea what she's talking
when they
about.
do fusing me, which makes me degenerate, I have to do my part. Posture and core exercise and staying strong is what has done it, and I'm almost always pain-free. And I mean, it's considered severe degenerative spine, and yet I almost have no pain ever. But I can't do high impact, but what you can do, focus on what you can do. I'm so delighted just to get to know you. We just think you're the bomb. You're the bee. You're the bee, Paula B.
Oh, thank you.
Fun just to hear your heart and a little bit of your story. Anything you would like to leave our little community with in terms of encouragement when it comes to getting committed to fitness and loving it and enjoying it?
Well, honestly, I think you said it right there. The fact that they already belong to a community, it makes such a difference. I mean, I know that you have found that in your business with your girls, with your ageless women, that when you have somebody else to talk to, I mean, even us having this conversation today, it's like, oh, you guys get me. I love that. We have the same kinds of feelings. We have the same kinds of concerns. We have the same kinds of issues. Find a community. I mean, it is hands down the thing that can change your health and fitness, is to find other people who feel the same way that you do, who have some of the same concerns, and who can honestly kind of pick you up when you're having a bad day, and you can pick them up when they're having a bad day. It is hands down the thing that makes the difference in your health.
We agree.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you taking time, appreciate what you're doing, that you keep putting out new content so that nobody can say they're going to get bored when they go to Paula B's YouTube channel. I want to encourage our viewers to go check out Paula B on YouTube and your website. What's your website address?
PaulaBfitness.com. And my name is spelled weird. It's Pahla, but if you search for it spelled normally, they'll find me too. Google has figured me out at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're not going to get lost because you're meeting a need, Paula. And we're grateful to get to know you and just know you're another tool and resource that we can point people toward that get the variety and good quality guidance that they need, because you're right. You don't need to hear it from a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. Thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you so much, ladies. Great to meet you.